We tend to think of rest as the reward for our labor, a collapse after all the pushing is done. But in the kingdom, rest is not what comes after, it's where you begin. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for Sabbath. That means it's not a legalism, it's a design. God wasn't tired when he rested, he was finished. So to enter rest is to step into completion, not from exhaustion, but from alignment. Jesus said in John 5:17, "My Father is always working, and so am I." But it wasn't striving, it was Sabbath work, the kind that heals on the seventh day, the kind that brings life, not burnout. Because Sabbath isn't inactivity, it's internal integrity. In neuroscience, we call it coherence. It's when the heart, brain, breath, and nervous system are no longer at war, but moving in sync. It's not rest as a collapse, it's rest as co-regulation with God. When you enter this state, this Sabbath frequency, your body exits fight or flight and re-enters flow. Stress hormones like cortisol drop, your vagus nerve activates, your immune system recalibrates, and your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for discernment and creative problem solving, turns back on. This is the biological mirror of divine rest. This is what it means to be a vessel for manifestation. Hebrews 4:10 says, "The one who has entered God's rest has also ceased from their own works, just as God did from his." Entering God's rest doesn't mean you stop all movement. It means you stop operating from lack. Just as God ceased from his works because they were complete, so we cease from the frantic labor of unfinished identity. We no longer work to become, we move because we already are. And from that place, the place of finished faith, our steps don't strain, they synchronize. Because rest is not what ends the work, rest is what starts it. It's not the finish line, it's the foundation. And from that foundation, you can finally build something that lasts. "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened," Jesus says in Matthew 11, "and I will give you rest." Rest, not as pause, but as presence reawakened. A nervous system softened. A mind returned to rhythm. A body no longer fighting to survive. This isn't the kind of rest you take when you're done. It's the kind you enter into so you can finally begin. From union. To Sabbath is not to sit idle. It's to enthrone yourself. It's to say, I don't hustle for miracles. I align with what's already finished. Science tells us that when the nervous system is in coherent rest, we gain access to higher order thinking, intuition, and emotional clarity. Scripture tells us that when we enter God's rest, we step into his timeline, not ours. And together, they tell us this: working from rest is not laziness, it's lordship. To Sabbath is to rule with Christ from a place of finished faith, where the miracle is already authored, and your only role is to agree. You were never meant to chase your calling and burnout. You were meant to carry it in sync with the Spirit. When you Sabbath, you're not stopping work. You're stepping into the finished work. So today, choose to rest. Not because you're empty, but because you're full. Not because you gave out, but because you tuned in. You don't need to panic to prove your purpose. You just need to remember who wrote the story and agree. It is finished. So let it be true in your breath, in your body, and your belief. Be loved and be loved, beloved.